Well, as we heard yesterday, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said in the press conference that Russia upholds the EU participation, EU mediation in this situation in the Caucasus. Now, we know that 200 observers will be stationed there before the 1st of October. In this light, I would like to ask Mr. Soares this question. What is the role of the OSCE observers?
The OSCE has always been in the field, as you know. And the OSCE is much larger than the European Union because we have 56 countries that belong to the OSCE, from Vancouver to Vladivostok. I think the OSCE is the correct international institution to deal with this kind of problems inside its own area.
So how much responsibility will it have in the region?
And I'm proud of being a member of an European Union country. But I don't think that the European Union can do so much as the OSCE. Of course, we are glad that the European Union and President Sarkozy, who is the chairman in office now of the European Union, has reached this agreement and the de facto recognition of the border between Georgia and South Ossetia and Abkhazia, and to have accomplished an agreement where European Union monitors will control this border in 1 or 2 weeks, and that's good. But our kind of work is more internally inside South Ossetia, inside Abkhazia.
The OSCE's
and the EU monitors.
And the EU monitors. What is the difference, or do we know that yet?
What do you divide
the
your
difference between the organizations? You have another feeling when you have the countries belonging to the European Union and the countries belonging to the OSCE. And that I have already explained to your viewers. 56 instead of 27. And we are specialists in security and cooperation in this area, and that means that we have the military approach as far as the arms control.
But there's been a lot of criticism, though, from Russia of the OSCE, especially when it comes to maybe like elections. The attitude is that this came out of the Cold War. Does the OSCE have to adapt to 21st century realities? Because really, the world has changed very, very much. Is the OSCE keeping up with change?
The OSCE has adapted itself and has renovated itself and has been on the level of the charges and of the difficulties of our world in the Balkans, in Central Asia, and also in the Caucasus. And I'm absolutely sure that no other international organization can be so present in the field, solving the problems or helping to solve the problems like the OSCE. That's for me absolutely clear.
We have a situation where we'll have two forces. As you said, OSCE is a strong force, and so is the European Union. There'll be 200 monitors there.
There is no rivalry between those.
I was just
we have cooperated several times.
I was just going to ask you about the cooperation, and maybe your responsibilities there will overlap, and in what particular areas will overlap happen?
The main tasks of the OSCE during its history since Cold War are security and cooperation as far as military questions are concerned, and when there is a conflict, solving the problems after the conflict and reducing the problems after the conflict, economic development and environment and human rights.
Okay, but let's be
and monitoring elections. And there you have
the Russian military.
We have a problem as far as the media are concerned.
The Russian military the Russian military said that the OSCE did not fulfill its obligations in South Ossetia before it was attacked. Would you like to respond to that?
No. The idea I have, and what we have heard from Foreign Minister Lavrov yesterday and from the chairman of the Duma, Grizlov, is the OSCE is the capable organization to take care of these kind of problems. And the first statements that were made by Russian authorities were in this sense. I remember President Dmitry Medvedev talking about OSCE before talking about any other international organization.
The Russian military doesn't have the same opinion. It believes that the OSCE abandoned its obligations in South Ossetia.
I haven't
well, this is public knowledge.
You know that the first building to be shelled by Georgian artillery in Chinvali was the OSCE bureau.
Yes,
and you know that
but they said
the chairman in office of the OSCE,
the Georgian peacekeepers in the OSCE abandoned their position. That's what the Russian military claims.
As far as we can, we could have seen it from our sources. It's not true. It's not true. That's one of the accusations.
But there is no doubt that the Russian government believes in the OSCE. That's why it's brought it back into the process.
That's clear. That's clear. Now, no, since the beginning, and also the Georgian authorities, they strongly believe in the work of the OSCE.
Will the OSCE's
and that's the plus value.
Will the monitors be watching the Georgian military in the buffer zone? Will they be watching to see if there's a remilitarization of the Georgian armed forces?
We had 8 people inside South Ossetia in Chinvali OSCE bureau. Now we have 20 of the 100 monitors that were accepted to be in the buffer zone, and they are already in the buffer zone since several days, and that's very important. They are already in the field, and you have images and testimonies of them. And we are working. That's the philosophy of the OSCE. I'm not representing the OSCE. I'm the president of the Parliamentary Assembly. But our contribution is very important to define the strategy of the governmental part of the OSCE. And I'm here to prepare the debate.
All right, Mrs. Soares, well, we'll have to leave it there. And, of course, we'll have the meeting in Toronto next week, which will probably pave the way in some ways for the next meeting that will be in October in Geneva. And, of course, we will be updating our audiences on what's happening there. But for the moment, I would like to thank both gentlemen, Peter Lavelle, our political commentator, and Joao Soares, President of Parliamentary Assembly for the Organization of Security and Cooperation in Europe. Thank you very much for being